Good morning, AMO. Bonjour, la AMO. It's great to be with you all here in person in Ottawa on the unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe peoples. Thank you so much for the invitation to take part in your first AMO in-person conference since the pandemic. This is actually my first official appearance with a regional member group since being named FCM president in June. I'm so very proud to represent our municipal order of government and to tackle the challenges that matter to the Canadians we serve. Je suis très fière de représenter notre ordre du gouvernement et de résoudre les questions qui comptent pour les Canadiens que nous servons. On behalf of the FCM board and team, I want to extend sincere thanks to outgoing AMO President Jamie McGarvey. Jamie, your decades of service to the residents of Parry Sound and your leadership with AMO are a great legacy. And the baton is certainly in good hands with your friend and our colleague, Colin Best. Colin, we look forward to working alongside you on so many important issues. When we were gathered on beautiful territory in Regina in June, I told delegates that I'm equally comfortable hanging out on a ranch as I am at a corporate boardroom. I'm as comfortable talking to fellow parents at my kids' school as I am championing on Parliament Hill. No matter the context, I aim to bring my authentic self, which is a Canadian who's proud to be from the prairies. And that's a big part of why I'm so passionate about FCM and the work that we can achieve. We're a diverse group of people working together to influence major decision-making that affect the very grassroots whose dirt is on our shoes. Our work as a united movement, is the perfect intersection of local and federal politics. And we get to serve our neighbors while bringing their crucial perspective to the federal stage. Yesterday, Senator Clement talked about the need to mention love in politics. We often talk about the pain and suffering and the hard work, but we love our communities, and that's why we do what we do. As your president, I have the honor of following in the footsteps of some truly impressive leaders, most recently one of AMO's own, Joanne van der Hayden. Joanne, thank you for your dedication and your great work and your support while I was first vice president. I again witnessed yesterday, your charisma continues to draw people to you, and you have friends everywhere. Thank you. And like FCM itself, I value unity and collaboration. I believe that no matter the unique perspectives that we bring from our homes, from forests to farmlands, from the Great Lakes to the Canadian Shield, from rural to urban to remote communities, there are far more things that unite us than divide us. And that's also true in the communities that we represent. People from all backgrounds and all walks of life count on us to set aside differences and come together in collaborative leadership. And supporting each other is just as critical as collaborating. And it's been a busy year in Ontario. First, a provincial election, and municipal elections are fast approaching. And we're all colleagues and friends, and never more so when the pace picks up. And FCM will be here to keep up the momentum on the important work we've advanced together as you tackle a busy fall. We've got your backs. And no matter what's keeping you busy, I want to recommit to all of you my open door policy. Don't ever hesitate to get in touch with me to chat about what's on your mind. I will always do my best to listen. Some of you have met at FCM meetings before the pandemic, and some of you made it to Regina in June. It was wonderful to meet those of you who took part in the conference, either in person or virtually. And I hope you felt the same sense of excitement and optimism that I did. I have to tell you, it felt a little bit like a family reunion. We were all back together with more than 2,000 municipal leaders, staff, businesses, and friends. And I can feel it here. It's tangible. You're finally gathered after 3 hard years. The theme of our annual conference was Together for Recovery, and we looked at recovery from every angle, from rural economic growth to the future of the federal-municipal partnership. And once again, the event drew national party leaders and political figures, all of whom stated clearly that municipalities are essential to pandemic recovery, and indeed to the overall functioning and well-being of communities across Canada. But you know that. FCM members passed resolutions calling for federal action on 4 timely matters: addressing period poverty, implementing TRC calls to action 71 to 76 pertaining to residential schools, thanks to the town of Collingwood, modernizing the gas tax fund, known as the Canada Community Building Fund, and improving entry processes for those fleeing conflict in Ukraine and elsewhere. Our program featured many of the same topics you're exploring here: climate resiliency, public health, emergency management, and of course, housing. I particularly applaud your programming on reconciliation, diversity, and women's leadership. Yesterday's meeting was particularly impactful, and I want to say thank you, especially for those leaders that continue to show principled leadership in the most challenging of times. Entering into this next phase of recovery, all of us municipal leaders are tasked with building stronger communities. And one of the most pressing issues is housing affordability. The challenge of finding an affordable place to live is top of mind for so many in communities big and small. While the need for housing affordability is not new, the global pandemic has shown us how precarious Canada's housing situation actually is. The increasing cost of home ownership means more and more people across Canada renting, and rents are going up. Add supply chain delays and labor market fluctuation, and we have major housing construction in jeopardy, including important affordable housing projects. The fact is, far more people need an affordable place to live than there are affordable options. And beyond the question of affordable supply, cities and communities are still grappling with the very real crisis of homelessness. You don't need to leave this building to see the very evidence of that. And we all know this problem goes far beyond the number of units. For housing solutions to be sustainable, we need to ensure the necessary wraparound supports are in place reliably and accessibly. And many of your communities across Ontario face similar challenges. Yet the creativity of municipal leaders to address every facet of the housing crisis can be seen. For example, in Thunder Bay, an old post office will get new life as an affordable housing mixed with commercial space in a redevelopment plan led by First Nations. In London, a former hospital campus is being transformed by nonprofit housing developers into a whole new neighborhood. I know there are many communities in this room that are continuing to be creative and exploring how to address this housing crisis. We are bold, we are creative, and thank you for continuing to be the visionaries of your communities. But we can't afford to let jurisdictional issues get in the way of smart solutions. Canadians want squabbling over red tape to stop. We need to work together on Canada's housing crisis with municipalities in the lead. And this is true for communities of all sizes. While bigger headlines might be grabbed by municipalities that are larger, FCM continues to promote solutions for small and rural communities as well, through the collaborative design of programs like the Housing Accelerator Fund. From zoning to planning to permitting, municipal governments are key to making housing projects move and be successful. When the federal budget came out this spring, it recognized municipalities as an essential partner. Solving greatest national challenges like housing affordability is a top priority. The budget made bold investments to tackle the housing crisis, and several measures responded directly to the work of FCM's board and the AMO. These included a $4 billion Housing Accelerator Fund that gives municipalities the ability to take bold action on housing supply, additional funding to address homelessness through the Reaching Home program, a 2-year extension of the Rapid Housing Initiative by $1.5 billion, which FCM was crucial in shaping to help house vulnerable folks quickly, improving the National Housing Co-Investment Fund and Rental Construction Financing Initiative. Your input on these pain points in these programs was critical to securing this commitment. Another significant shift we've seen in recent months is the increasing federal and provincial recognition of the intersection between housing, transit, infrastructure, and climate change. These links aren't new to municipalities, but they are now being operationalized. A good example is the second round of transit operating support, linking transit to provincial efforts to improve housing supply in collaboration with municipalities. You knew, and FCM board knows. It's going to take strategic coordination from all of us to ensure that we meet the challenges and the opportunities ahead. Linking housing supply and infrastructure outcomes will be central to the upcoming renegotiations of the Canada Community Building Fund, which you heard about from Jennifer O'Connell on Monday, and the design of major programs like the Permanent Transit Fund and the Housing Accelerator Fund, especially regarding transit-oriented development. FCM is hard at work advancing these discussions to ensure national ambition around the Canada Community Building Fund meets the reality on the ground, from major city infrastructure to supporting most shovel-ready projects in rural communities. Part of our job is to tell the story, to paint the picture of local realities and use that experience to shape public policy. Dr. Nutt referred to that yesterday as principled leadership, not looking to blame who, but finding the what. What are we doing and why? What motivates us? And you know that nation building looks different every time you visit a new community. It's as much about effective public transit as it is about climate-resilient infrastructure that keeps rural and remote communities stronger in the face of a changing climate. It's about keeping people, families, and workers connected through better access to reliable broadband and through improved inter-community transit. As always, FCM will demonstrate how cities and regions are already showing leadership, and we will make it clear why you all are the most critical voice at that table. And thank goodness we have such a formidable group to help get that work done. I and the FCM board are committed to working alongside AMO on this important work ahead of us. Le Conseil de la FCM et moi sommes déterminés à collaborer avec la AMO dans les importants travaux à venir. Merci pour tout ce que vous faites au nom de collectivités ontariennes et leurs résidents. Thank you so much for the hard work that you do every day to make life better for the citizens that you represent and the communities which you love. Thank you again for having me here. Have a great conference. I look forward to meeting more of you as we leave today.